It's Jason Romero, first and only blind person running across America. Thanks for tuning in again. If you like my channel, please subscribe and like it. Today we're going to be talking to you about socks. In my opinion, as important as shoes, and kind of the differences between socks, what's out there on the market, and just my own personal experience. So I hope you enjoy this one. Let's dig in. Okay, there's a very important secret I need to share with you. Socks are very important as a blister prevention strategy. The way blisters are formed is with humidity or with friction. So if your sock stays wet and your foot is real sweaty and it gets wet in the shoe, generally speaking, you're going to be prone to blistering. The other piece is if there's friction, so if a sock is not form-fitting or fit correctly to your foot and your foot moves around a lot in the sock and there's a lot of friction with your foot and the sock or with your foot sock against the shoe, then you're going to be prone to blisters. So sizing of the sock, make sure it's sized correctly to your foot, and you have a choice as far as materials go. So let's move on to that. Okay, let's get this party started. First things first, when it comes to socks, the first thing to note is that there's different materials that socks are made of. One is wool. Some examples of that are SmartWool, Features, Farm to Feet. The next type of material, which is very common out there, is synthetic or polyester. SwiftWick, Balega are some very common brands of those types of socks. Taking a break with our sock video. Let's see what Doug is doing. Doug is sleeping. Oh, he's awake? Good morning, Doug. Talking about socks. The different types of materials work well in different types of running environments. For instance, the wool, which is made of merino wool, which is a very specialized type of wool, works very well in actually a Colorado dry climate where you get cold and heat. For instance, a standard pair of SmartWool socks I can wear in the wintertime and summertime. In the wintertime, they keep your feet warm. In the summertime, they keep your feet cool and they wick moisture away very well in a dry climate. On the other hand, a polyester blend sock does very well, in my experience, in humid climates. And the reason for that is that wool will not wick moisture away as well in a very humid climate. So here's a quick interlude, and to make sure you're paying attention, because if you're paying attention to this video, you are not going to have nasty feet like this. You will have pretty feet like this. Let's keep talking about socks. Polyester, on the other hand, has the ability to let air in and breathe. And generally speaking, a polyester sock is going to be a thinner sock as well. Polyester sock probably does not keep your foot as warm in a cold environment, but for environments such as, by rivers or East Coast or the deep South, Florida, that type of thing, probably a polyester sock is very nice. You could also play with a very thin wool sock. Part two next that I alluded to there is thickness of socks. So there are some socks that are very, very lightweight socks, and some people like that. It's just one thickness for the entire length of the sock. Or there's different levels of thicknesses in padded socks. So this is a very thick sock. This is a very thin sock. Depends on what you prefer. So whether you choose a thick sock or a thin sock has a variety of different options and factors. One is your own personal preference. Number two is probably the environment. Number three would be actually your foot as well. A lot of times as a foot gets older, as a person gets older, their foot starts to deteriorate around the heel cup and around the toe. The collagen there starts to wear down. So a lot of socks have actually implemented these additional padded structure areas here. It's probably easier to see on this type of sock. The green area is more padded than the gray area. And that's to provide additional cushioning where, frankly, the foot begins to wear down in an older runner. So that's something to be aware of. Another thing to think about as well is the ankle crop. So here you can see a very low crew crop. Here you can see just over the ankle bone crop. There's some other socks that come on the market these days that are actually up to mid-calf. These actually are very nice because it keeps the splatter off of your leg. The other thing it does too in cold Colorado mornings where it might be windy and you may be wearing sweats, this actually will be an additional barrier for your skin just at your ankle. So this is also something very nice as well to think about. One final thing too, there are also compression socks. This is a pair of SmartWool compression socks. And these actually have compression. They're made of wool, but there's also an elastic material in there. Compression is really made for driving the fluids up out of the foot, up out of, in this case, the calf, and up into the higher level bodies. It helps with circulation a lot, blood flow, helps with pushing waste products out of the lymph system. Something to consider. Some people like them, some people hate them. This is actually a pair of Zamst socks that are made specifically for plantar fasciitis. And you may be able to see this right here where this darker area is right here. This is actually a thicker sewn material to provide additional support where the plantar is located. So if you're having a little bit of plantar pain, these are actually very tight socks. And also made of cotton. That's another thing that I didn't really address is cotton socks, plain cotton socks. They're okay. They don't last as long. They wear out quicker than a wool sock or a polyester sock, and they'll ball up. But they're also something to consider as well. And frankly, it's just a preference. But the thing that I would encourage you to do is to make sure that you do keep your running socks separate. Use them for running specifically. The other trick that I got that you may have noticed, which a friend's father of mine taught me, is right here. I always use a pin for my socks, and it keeps them together when they go through the wash and the dryer. I didn't used to do that, and this wonderful gentleman passed that on to me, so I'll pass it on to you too. So just to recap, for merino wool socks, you have SmartWool, you have Features, you have Farm to Feet. Those are very, very good brands. For a synthetic, you have SwiftWick, you have Balega. I do not have any Injinji socks, which is those toe socks that fit around your toes. They make those in wool and polyester. The reason I don't use those is, for me, in any event, because I keep my shoes so loose, my foot tends to slide my sock and I end up getting problems within where my toe inserts are. So in any event, that's a short recap for socks. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Please like it. Please share it. And we'll see you next time.